Good morning, Patriots. JT here, Serenity Farm prepping, and the eggs are always up on the shelf and not in the nesting boxes. What do you got? How many are you sitting on? I'll come back. All right, let's get out of here. I need to clean this thing before winter. Okay, so that was round 3 for eggs, and it's only 10:30. I've already gotten 8. Got rid of the rooster, and production went through the roof. I knew it would, but it was hard. He was majestic, but he's gone. So I've had a lot of questions about the redneck septic system that I was going to install for the Mancave. So let's go over what I'm doing in the Mancave, and then I'll show you the septic. All right, so because I put in the Mancave not thinking ahead as usual, I didn't want a conventional toilet because they're 1.5 gallons a flush. So I went with an RV toilet. They flush straight down. Therein lies my problem that I had, because there's no P-trap, no S-trap. I could have ran a regular toilet right out the wall and straight down into the septic, but I didn't want to use 1.5 gallons every flush. I wanted to use 1.5 cups of water. So, went with an RV toilet, but it meant I had to go down through the floor. And when we get outside, you'll see what I had to do to dig to get a septic up to the building, because this isn't a conventional one. And 1.5 cups of water, it'll move the solids, but it likes to move them straight down or as close as possible. So, water was my first issue. I always had water coming into my 12-volt pump. I used to have a container right here with 25 gallons. Now I ran that blue line all the way through the man cave, out the back wall, into my 600-gallon tank. So I ran a conventional line off the cold water red into the toilet. So the water comes in the blue, goes through the 12-volt pump, and yes, I have the filter. I gotta cut right here and put the inline filter on. So it comes in here, comes up, comes into my on-demand hot water heater. If it's just cold, then it comes right back out and goes wherever is being called for. Now, I have a shower that I installed. 3 pieces of extra roofing, an old pan, shower pan that I had. I cut a hole through the floor that drains outside on the ground. This propane tank will be gone shortly. I got a 100-pounder outside. I'm going to come through the wall to run this line directly, and then I'll come and underneath the sink I'll come in to put my propane stove oven in there. So this building will be completely off grid. So the way I have it set up, water comes on, heater comes on, pump is pressurized. Same thing with the toilet. I have the water off right now, even though it's hooked up, because I am still hooking it up outside. So let's go out there and take a look. All right, it's a mess, and I still got work to do. Now, being a prepper like the rest of us, I'm frugal. I had an extra 125-gallon tank I used to use in my greenhouse that I didn't need anymore. So I plugged up all the holes that were in it and said that's enough for the man cave. I didn't want to rent a backhoe at $250 a day. I got a couple friends. I got projects going on. I can get it after. I don't have that kind of time. My ground's going to freeze. So I've been doing it with the tractor. Obviously, with the tractor, to get my hole the right depth, this little fella, I had to gradually slope so that I could get in to get buckets out, and be able to back out of the hole. Because with the bucket filled, she wants to spin, especially with the little turf tires. So as you can see, I needed the main part of the hole for the tote. The rest of it, I'm gonna dig by hand. I got that piece and a piece right there, and that's it. That's all I'm gonna use. They'll drain right here. So I'm gonna have to do some, the bucket's 52 inches, so my trench will be 52 inches wide because my ground is so rocky, I just can't dig it by hand. So I'll dig down to the required depth I need, put in some landscape cloth and some crushed stone from the pile I got. Cover this, put the pipe down, cover the pipe with landscape cloth and some more crushed stone, and 15 feet is going to be enough for this draining. So there's the tank. Little lower than I wanted to go. As you can see, I'm 2 foot below the surface right there. From that barrel to the tank is 2 foot. I was going to use that barrel, but that's only 55 gallons. Believe it or not, this is twice as much. So I had to come through the floor of the man cave. You can see that cross piece is one of the 4x4 pressure treated skids the building's on. I put a 60-degree elbow on there because 1.5 cups per flush, 90 might have been too much, and that would have came straight out. I could have dropped it down further and then put it in. Anyway, that's what I got. 66 runs into my tank, which I have to fill that hole. It's never going to get that high. There's going to be very little dirt on top, so I'll stuff it with some materials I got. Do the best I can so that dirt doesn't get inside it, and fill my septic. All right, so if I ever have to empty it and I get my other septic done, I will have this marked in the ground. So 1, I don't drive over it with the tractor, and 2, septic guy can just run his hose here and take care of it for me. So I just got done fitting my regular septic pipe right here. Nice and tight, but I'm going to put a bead of some fast dry DAP all the way around it and begin the trenching. Now, as you can see, this stuff's got to come out. Your holes on these, if this was upside down, they're at 5 and 7 o'clock on your clock. They'll run 2 sections of this and put a cap on the end so the water runs all the way through these, hits the cap at the end, eventually backfills a little bit into the pipe and disperses the water a little more evenly instead of all the water just rushing right out the end, which would be fine with this. For the usage this is going to get, it should be fine. But I've got to make sure I got a slight angle, so where the pipe comes out of the tank, that has to slope downhill slightly, even though my ground is going uphill. So it's kind of a little optical illusion. When the pipe goes into the tank right where it is, that's already a little bit uphill. So I will have to dig out at least as far back as where the rear tractor tire is for both sections, and deeper than it is right here because I got to go downhill. But then I will fill it all in and be done. So that there is a redneck septic tank using materials I had laying around, using a tractor instead of a backhoe. Backhoe, I'd have been done this whole freaking trench and hole in 20 minutes. And I wouldn't have a great big 52-inch wide trench. I'd have an 18 or a 24-inch trench. Perfect to put in the piping. Easier to fill back in. Yeah, it is what it is. I saved a ton of money because I literally haven't spent a dime. The insulation board I'm going to put around was left over. Everything. But that's what a redneck septic tank is. Hope everybody's getting prepared. I'll probably have 4 people living in this man cave when the shit hits the fan. So they'll have a bathroom there as long as we keep filling the 600-gallon tank on the other end. I have 64 foot of rain gutter that fills this up in a couple hours if it's really raining good. So when that runs out, I'm putting a regular outhouse over my log cabin septic tank that you can't see. And everybody gonna have to use that. And that's just gonna be the way it is. So that's all I got. Saturday morning, gonna go in man cave, make some beer, watch some college football on the big screen, and pray that something good happens very, very soon. All right, folks. That's all I got for now. JT. Sorry I lied. Quick note. Once I get the line, the crushed stone and the stuff, I'll make another video to show you part 2 on the leach field line and then filling that back in and stuff. But I'm still gone.